From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm David DeForest reporting the NATO-Russia Council meets. Officials from 28 NATO countries attended the meeting in Brussels along with a Russian delegation. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg told reporters after the meeting the talks were, in his words, frank, serious, and actually good. But, he said, NATO and Russia have profound and persistent disagreements, and that Wednesday's meeting did not change that.
NATO allies remain firm that there can be no return to practical cooperation until Russia returns to the respect of international law.
Jens Stoltenberg. U.S. President Barack Obama will meet with leaders from France, Britain, Germany, and Italy next week for an informal meeting expected to cover such topics as Syria, Libya, and migration. The White House says the leaders will also discuss additional steps the NATO allies must take to address challenges on Europe's eastern and southern periphery. The United Nations Refugee Agency is confirming reports that as many as 500 people may have died when an overcrowded boat capsized and sank earlier this month in the Mediterranean. William Spindler is a spokesman for the agency.
Perhaps as many as 500 people drowned a few days ago. We don't know exactly when a large ship went down between Libya and Italy.
If the death toll is confirmed, it would be one of the worst tragedies since the start of the migrant crisis in Europe. Military spokesman Colonel Steve Warren told Pentagon reporters Russian and Iranian forces are gathering around the Syrian city of Aleppo. He says it appears to be the beginning of a push to shore up the government of President Bashar al-Assad. This is VOA News. U.S. President Barack Obama and Saudi Arabia's King Salman agreed on the importance of an inclusive approach to de-escalating regional conflicts during a 2-hour meeting in Riyadh Wednesday. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia have recently seen rising tensions over differing approaches to Iran and the fight against terrorism. The meeting comes a day before the United States and some Arab nations plan to attend a summit of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Hillary Clinton are turning their attention to presidential primary elections taking place in 5 states next week. Both candidates were the big winners in Tuesday's New York primary. Elaine Camark of the Brookings Institution was asked how long the process will continue.
I think that this probably goes through May, maybe all the way to the California primary in June. And that's a big one because on the Republican side, that's a winner-take-all primary. And of course, California, being the biggest state in the Union, has the most delegates on the Democratic side and on the Republican side.
The next key date is April 26th, with Republican and Democratic primaries in 5 states: Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. 1 local and 2 state employees are facing criminal charges stemming from a water crisis that continues to plague the Midwestern U.S. city of Flint, Michigan. The 3 were charged Wednesday with evidence tampering and several other felonies and misdemeanors. Other charges may be filed. Here is Michigan Governor Rick Snyder.
And one of the things we clearly want to pursue is the truth. The citizens of Michigan deserve it. The citizens of Flint deserve it. We've been fully cooperating with this investigation and will continue to do so. We'll pursue any wrongdoing and hold people accountable.
Almost 18 months ago, officials switched Flint's water source, and residents began drinking and bathing with water tainted with toxic lead. Flint has been under a state of emergency for 4 months. Residents there are using filters and bottled water. The The U.S. Supreme Court says Iran must pay nearly $2 billion in frozen assets to the American families of people killed by Iran-sponsored terrorism. In a 6-2 ruling Wednesday, the court upheld a 2012 law concerning the distribution of the funds. A 6.1 magnitude aftershock rattled Ecuador's Pacific coast Wednesday, frightening residents who have barely begun to recover from Saturday's powerful earthquake. The death toll from Saturday's quake rose to 525 on Wednesday. Rescuers are losing hope of finding anyone still alive under tons of wreckage. On Wall Street, U.S. stock indexes ended the day higher. From the VOA News Center in Washington, I'm David DeForest.
That's the latest world news from VOA.